We're gonna do it. Hey guys, welcome to the Big Blue United podcast. My name is TJ. I'm here with my main men this week, Dan and Colin.
Yeah.
What's up,
on my
friends?
way back into your good graces, I say.
Que paso? Como estás?
De nada. Is that the right answer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
No. De nada is like when you do
What's
something for
happening?
somebody. It's like if you got me a beer and I was like, thanks, you're like de nada. 'Cause I'm just
problem.
like, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Well,
You could just say nada, which means I'm nothing.
yeah. But nada is correct.
Nada Studios.
Yeah. Oh,
I was
hey,
just thinking the
Dad.
same thing.
Nice,
Shout out to
nice.
Nada Studios, our sponsor this week.
Oh, I'd like that. Some
They didn't
little,
pay us, but they're just cool.
Well, and they record some fine rock and roll. So
Yeah.
Support that.
We're fans of fine rock and roll in this podcast. If y'all haven't noticed.
Speaking of which, I went for a little run when I came home from work before, and you know what I listened to? You guys will appreciate it.
What was
The
it?
Hippos.
Nope, close. Same general area. Rufio.
Rufio.
Which
Did it?
Oh.
I tried listening to them maybe the past year or two. Just didn't hold up quite as much as I would have liked.
Well, what was cool is, and I've been on this kick recently of like when I feel like listening to a band or an artist, I put on the This Is on Spotify and just let it
Sure.
rip because I don't know which album I want.
Yeah.
What was cool is like the first 3 or 4 songs on there. Obviously, Above Me is the first one because that's just the song. But like it goes into the later albums, and there's some good jams on those later albums. I didn't mind it.
They're kind of like a poor man's Slick Shoes in my
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
A little bit. You know?
Above Me is like the quintessential "My Girlfriend, My Skateboard" song.
Oh yeah.
For all you pop punk fans out there from the early
Man.
2000s.
That doesn't
Yeah,
even.
there's
They're not even on the radar for anyone that like mentions pop punk these days. When you mention pop punk, they're like Blink-182, My Chemical Romance,
All-time low.
yeah,
like all
Good
those-
Charlotte, like those
If
bands
any-
that we were so into. No one knows those bands.
No.
Everyone knows Good Charlotte. They were hugely
Yeah,
popular.
but no one knows Rufio.
I'm just saying, like, if anyone had ever heard of Rufio prior to us talking about it right now, send Dan a message at bigblueunitedpodcast@gmail.com. He's going to personally send you $100 check. Include your
Yeah,
address in there. Yep.
Yeah, same. If you know the Star Killer, I'll come to your house and
Oh
give you a handshake.
wow. Yeah, that's
That was a band we played with, and the lead singer would always have his back. Or no, the lead singer was the only one facing forward because he had to sing,
Facing their
and
amps.
the rest of the band was just turned around, not looking at the
wow.
audience.
How the heck do you remember that? I don't even
We
remember.
played-
I remember.
They
remember
played
the
with
band,
Pro
but-
Monroe. Remember?
Yeah.
Was
Oh,
that this?
Pro Monroe! Wow,
Yeah.
this is really old. This
Yeah.
is a good start to this podcast.
Well,
Yeah, this
Really
is what
hitting
everyone
all
wants to
the
know.
bases.
The start of training camp. Everyone wants to find out about 2002 pop punk in Hudson Valley.
Well, yeah, I mean it's an exciting podcast. We officially started season 3 today. Season 3, episode 1, right now,
right
in your
now.
face. And we're excited if football is back. Football is back. In parentheses, close enough. Giants Twitter is more fun now. People seem to be, already just ripping each other apart on Twitter, and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Well, but you know what? It's a little different, and you know why? And I'll start right from the get-go here. There seems to be one rallying cry between all facets of Giant fandom, and it's how much Pat Leonard sucks at his job. I think that is something that across the board, if you follow or read any Giants beat writers, he is the one that blows the hardest.
reflect on that.
Series. Oh yeah. Well, I think he's worse. He's like starting off right off the get-go with basically trying to piss off everybody in the organization and outside of it.
I mean, you could tell
think it's
Dable just
purposeful.
hates him.
Yeah.
He hates him. No, I mean, how could he not know?
I think he doesn't know how to formulate a question, man. Like what is the response you think you're going to get from asking questions like that?
The last time, I saw the tweet or whatever where it's like, I can't believe Pat Leonard is a real reporter. And he's like, so like, at what point do you want to see the team play well as opposed to
Not.
put them in situations where it's okay to make mistakes? And Dibble's just like, what does that even mean, man?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just coaching the team. This is how you coach a team.
And it's only been 3 practices, Pat. Like, come on, guy. I mean,
shut up, dude.
well,
Yeah.
the best was Kadarius when he's like, and he's not a he doesn't speak a lot of words and has a large
Speak a lot of
vocabulary.
words.
But he's standing there listening to Pat Leonard ask him questions, and the question basically was, "Oh, so in the off season, what did you think about the rumors that you were going to be traded?" And he's just like, "Well, I talked to everybody in the building, and they told me I wasn't going to be traded, so that's it."
Yep.
And it's like, so you're just making crap up.
I mean, after Shane put him in his place about asking about Kadarius, who we're going to call KT from now on because that's what my boy Dabes calls him.
Yes.
Asking, and Shane was just like, "We're not trading Kadarius Toney."
Not happening.
Why is he still asking the question?
Yeah.
And you know what? I do have to commend Dable for the way he's been handling Pat Leonard's questions in press conferences, because he looks like he's about to just absolutely rip his head off and drop kick it through the uprights, but he like takes a very tactful, kind of like gathers his
He's letting him hang himself.
yes, but also like end his answer with something very smart and just like, you can't ask a follow-up after I answer this question because let's end this now. You're wasting my time.
And
Just you sort of kill people with like a little bit of facts and then a little bit of kindness, but have that look in your eye like I'm gonna jump down your throat and kill you, but then just leave it alone. I do that when I'm bartending quite a bit. I feel like it's a good skill.
Dan, what
I love
do you
how
do?
he handles
can
the
you
media in
role play
general.
that for us, TJ? Like what
So
scenario?
It's Saturday night, about 8 p.m.
Yeah.
The whole bar's full. Every table in the restaurant's full. Someone comes up to the bar and asks me, where do I order a drink around here? Or can I get a drink here? And I look at them and I go, yeah, you can order one right from me, bud. What would you like? Yeah.
Well, hey, give these people some credit. Maybe they see you and you just have this air of, well, there wouldn't be any way you are the bartender. You own the place. Why would you even be doing that? Stooping so low. Isn't that,
While I'm pouring a beer.
Yeah,
You're asking me
yes,
this
yes,
question.
yes.
Where can I get a drink? I don't know. I guess across the street.
I guess that's a fair point.
There's just water and iced tea in these bottles behind me, bro. I mean, I don't know. I can't help you.
Definitely not the guy behind the bar that's pouring all the drinks. He can't get you one.
It's like I am joking, but I'm actually not joking. Like this has happened to me multiple times over the years. I mean, that's like the dumbest question I've ever been asked. Not that I haven't been asked a bunch of dumb questions, over the years, but it's that one's the most so ridiculous to me.
Do you think that could just be like a nervous, I'm not good at talking to people I don't know, like icebreaker question?
For sure, but like, when you go to like a pizza place and you go up to the counter, do you go, can I get a slice of pizza here? I mean, what else do they do there?
That's a fair point. That's a very good point.
I don't know. Like, it's, another thing that people do that is always annoying to me. It's like when one person sits down by themselves and you go, hey, what's up? Do you want something to drink? They don't answer. They just go, I'm waiting for somebody else. It's like, I'm not judging you for being alone at a bar, dude. I've been alone at a bar a lot of times, as is every other bartender.
That's such a weird response.
No,
Yeah,
dude,
really
that's like super common though. I get that like 2 or 3 times a week, where like people come in by themselves waiting for someone, and they're like, the first thing they want you to know is like, I'm not alone. I'm waiting for somebody else.
Do you think it's because they don't want to like order anything and they want to like wait for someone to get there?
I just don't think they want you to think that they're like a guy alone at a bar or a lady alone at a bar.
See, a lady saying it is one thing though, but a guy, like, what just get a beer.
You know what's really good to me is when someone just comes in and is confident and doesn't give a crap about what I think about them, because I don't give a crap about you at all. Really, I just
Yeah, like this guy came in and was like, yeah, I don't want any of that BS IPA craft stuff. Just give me a pure gold Bud Light.
Yeah.
And,
Give him a
and
Bud
if you have
Light.
anything
I'm
to
like,
say, shut up.
I'm like,
I
give
don't
me
wanna hear
some money.
anything.
I'll just give me some money. That's it. I'm like ruining my brand right now, telling everyone the truth. As usual, guys, please follow Big Blue United on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow us on Twitter, BBU Podboys with a Z. Download that DraftKings app. Use promo code TPPN. Follow our lovely podcast network at the Pigskin Podnet on Twitter. And last thing I'll say is we were supposed to have ESPN contributor, writer, host Jason Reed on to talk about his new book. Unfortunately, we had to postpone that, but we will have him on hopefully next week to talk to him about his new book. So stay tuned for that. Before we hop into training camp, I want to do a little bit of around the league because there's two things I think that are fun to talk about. If you guys have other stuff, sure. But I think Deshaun Watson would be a really good place to start. Ended up getting suspended 6 games only. I mean, when I say 6 games only, I feel like I'm comparing this to other suspensions in NFL history.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the one everyone's talking about is, Calvin Ridley, who got a year for going on DraftKings. You see guys like Josh Gordon, Darren Waller, Martavius Bryant in recent history who have missed seasons or a whole season for drinking or smoking pot.
Missed an entire career for Josh Gordon.
Yeah, Josh Gordon for getting high and getting drunk. I missed his whole career.
That's a whole other story. But
you remember
yes.
Josh Brown, the Giants kicker?
Yep.
Yeah.
Who got suspended a whole year for admitting that he had physically abused his wife.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Adrian Peterson got the same amount of time as Deshaun Watson for getting convicted of child abuse. DeAndre Hopkins is missing 6 games for taking a supplement he didn't know had a banned substance in it. Yet Deshaun Watson gets 6 games for 25 sexual assault allegations, including 31 lawsuits the Texans settled for millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's just
interesting.
It's the typical NFL. Let's just kind of figure out our rules as it goes on, depending on how much money we know we're going to bring in. And the hapless Browns, one way or the other, you can't bring the best player on their team currently and not have him play the entire year. So 6 games is what's going to be good, just so they can get him back and make the TV ratings go up or whatever.
He's also losing $345,000 out of his $230 million contract.
Oh no,
that's really not that bad.
Yeah,
poor baby.
I thought it was more money than that. That's insane. Yeah, that's not good. Well, it's the NFL. They do what they want, and people are going to complain, and then what's going to happen? Nothing.
Well, apparently there was an independent arbitrator here who made a compromise. The league wanted a year, but I mean, you are right, Colin. You are right, because the NFL has, a track record of letting superstars sort of get away with this stuff. I think Greg Hardy is a really good example. He almost killed a woman and then was didn't get suspended at all.
Or
a couch full of machine guns.
Yeah, throwing a woman on a couch full of machine guns. Yeah,
that's the title.
Machine gun couch.
No, it's not good. Or another one. I know Ray Rice, ended up actually getting blacklisted from the league. But do you remember when the news first came out that he had hit his girlfriend, wife, or whatever, and they didn't really suspend him at all? And then a couple weeks later, the video came out. And everyone saw the video, and all of a sudden they were like, "Oh yeah, he's suspended a year." They don't want to give those suspensions to big name guys. They don't want to do it.
They also totally saw that video before it came out.
100%. I mean, that was pathetic by the league. Honestly, it was so stupid.
I mean, no one expects much.
Here's a quick question, kind of related. I know, regardless of what his contract is, which I don't know what it is at this point, but how much longer do you expect Goodell to be around as the commissioner of the league?
As long as he doesn't rock the boat.
I think they love him.
Money. Yeah.
I think the NFL's been making more money every year. I think that's all that he's doing his job.
No, I asked that in a way of he doesn't have to worry about money ever again. He might just go right out on top and just leave 1 year. Do you think he'll do that?
No, I think he'll stick around for a long time, to be honest. The league loves him. He's getting paid. I don't think his job is particularly that intense, to be honest.
And he makes $44 million a year or whatever.
It's basically just delegation and dealing with, the big stuff when it happens, reading draft picks. I mean,
giving hugs. Yeah.
Giving hugs. Yeah. Kissing dudes on the lips.
He's essentially has to fall on the sword for all the owners that don't want to, suspend Deshaun Watson.
That's it, Dan. That's it, man.
Yeah.
100%.
And get hugged entirely too hard by really, really big offensive lineman.
I think he'd probably get broken at the draft in half by a big dude getting hugged, then he will retire.
Do you think he prepares?
I think that's more likely.
Do you think he works out knowing he's going to have to get hugged hard?
I think they probably did a Wolverine type situation with him, replaced his bones with metal, maybe.
That's the worst superhero of all time.
Roger Goodell, you can't break his spine. It's made of metal.
He's immune to hard hugs. That's his great skill. Hug him as hard as you want.
Oh, that's silly.
Man. The other thing I want to talk about was this Kyler Murray contract that includes 4 hours of film study a week. Is this not the dumbest, funniest thing you ever heard of in your life, or what?
They took it out. Wasn't that the big
They
thing?
took it out.
They took it
Did
out
actually-
today.
Because of all the bad publicity. It was last week they took it out.
Oh, I thought it was, oh, they announced it today.
I'm not up on this story apparently. Well, good for him. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
saw
it was
him
funny,
saying-
and now it's funny
It
again.
is funny, man.
Well, I just don't get it. Like, I feel like if I was an NFL quarterback, I would love film. Just, I want to know. I want to get into that, the strategery of it. Like, that's the best. Wouldn't you think? I mean, I know studying isn't fun, but it's something you do that you supposedly love and get paid a lot of money to do.
I don't think that like you're in a mindset where you're that physically gifted that you think you can skirt by those things. I think if the three of us were in that situation, be like, well, yeah, you know, we have to do those things because we have to be on a level playing field and we have to know. But if you're like Kyler Murray, who's gone his whole life just by being fast and smart, I mean, maybe you don't care as much. I don't know.
I'm with you, TJ. Also, is that outside of like the mandatory in the classroom with coaches? Because I feel like you definitely do. That's on his own mandatory film study that.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like independent.
Oh,
And
okay.
like I read the whole clause, it was like, you can't have the TV on in the background. You can't have your phone distracting you, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, it was sort of like very specific in what they were trying to get out of him. When I was reading it, it kind of like reminded me of the whole Jamarcus Russell thing where they gave him a blank CD and told him there was film on it. And they asked him about it. And he was like, yeah, it was really interesting to watch. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Kyler is it you say Kyler or Kylar?
Kyler.
Kyler.
You've heard these names before, haven't you?
I don't know.
He's
I
just
feel like
slipping
I'm
into his middle-aged white manness.
pronouncing it wrong on purpose that I forgot.
Kyleton Murray.
Kyleton.
Well, I think if
Oh.
anything, the embarrassment would scare him enough to be like, all right, well, or maybe I'll actually start doing it a little more.
Hey,
I don't know.
could bring him to the next level. I mean, like I said, he's without Hopkins for half the year, so he might
And
need
he's,
to.
he's great, but he could be better. Why don't you get to that?
To
next
me,
level?
it raises more questions about like the coaching staff and what goes on there. I don't know. Like it feels like Cliff Kingsbury does a lot of cool things, but he runs like a really loose
yeah,
sort of operation, and
I
like
think so.
they do fun stuff and interesting stuff, but also like there's not much discipline or structure.
Uh-huh.
It's just like the outside impression you get, and this sort of reflects that. They're like, all right, we got to get Kyler better. Let's make him study more via his contract.
It's a very college-like situation. I mean, that's where he came from.
Yeah,
that whole
yeah.
college.
We're gonna get
scene,
rid of your
so.
scholarship if you don't.
Yeah.
Anything else around the league you guys want to hit on before we move on to training camp?
I thought it was interesting that Deebo Samuel and the 49ers came to an agreement after having such a volatile offseason where it seemed like every time he was being asked by a random fan or the media if he was going to be staying in San Francisco, he was like, hell no. But, well, maybe he was just doing what, I don't know, his agent was bidding in terms of playing the game the right way, which apparently it ends up, I mean, I just looked at it very briefly. It's going to be over by the time he's 29, so he can be in line to get one more good payday after this.
3 years, 71 million, 51 million guaranteed. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the end of the day, it was money.
Yeah.
Isn't that always what it is? I think he was still on his rookie deal. Just wanted to get paid. He got paid, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it might be a lot more interesting with Trey Lance's slotting into the starting role there too. So who knows? I mean, it's a bit of a risk, but money's money, so he'll stay.
He was going to get that money somewhere else, and he didn't want to play.
True.
So I think they had to throw it at him.
Yeah.
Plus, once they get Jimmy G's contract off the books, if they manage to do that, then it's less of a big deal. I feel like for them. Once once Jimmy G's on the Giants.
No. let's talk that out of the atmosphere.
Well,
Because,
let's talk about it in the atmosphere a little bit because Jones has not looked good.
no,
No.
but you think this guy's going to be better?
No.
Yeah.
I don't mean that they should trade for him, and I don't think they should, and I don't think
No.
he'll be on this team. But that just to say that the Giants don't look settled at quarterback, at least through the first 4 practices of preseason.
No, and I saw one video from very far away because that's all the video that they're basically putting on the internet now from the Talking Giants world, basically. But except they made, I think I saw as well, the rules got even harder at training camp to even take video. They started kind of having people not be allowed to do it anymore. But it's one video I saw. I thought it was like an old school Eli Manning drill where you throw the ball at people's feet as hard as you can and behind on
It's a
short
safe
passes.
pass. It's a safe pass.
Yeah, safe pass when no one's going to catch it. Yeah, I guess he's
You're only
struggling.
losing 2 yards anyway. It's not...
Well, what's odd and what I'm hearing is he's struggling with the short passes, and the long ones are not really an issue that much, which is an odd thing. So I don't know if that's a mentality thing. I don't know. I mean, it's also 4 or 5 practices. They just started in pads today.
I mean, we got to, we're reading into what the information we have available. So maybe we're jumping to conclusions a little too fast. But I mean, what else are you supposed to do right now?
Yeah.
I mean, but he's thrown a lot of picks.
He's just not very good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I mean. I also read that, like, I don't know if they're covering for him or what, but that, they asked him to throw, fun balls to the defense to see how they would react to them. I don't understand how that sort of works out in terms of, strengthening your defensive unit. But it certainly does a lot to make people think your offensive unit is less improved than we'd hope it would be, even through 4 practices from, basically total ineptitude last year.
Yeah, well, going back to the Pat Leonard questions to Dable, I mean, a lot of his answers were about how the practice in particular that Pat was watching was they were practicing 3rd and longs, like over and over again. So, yeah, you're going to be behind the 8 ball a little bit more, especially trying to do very specific kinds of passing to get first downs or touchdowns or whatever. But I don't know. He's a middling QB, as our joke continues on, and he's going to continue to do that. I think the amazing thing will be what this coaching staff may be able to squeeze out of him before we eventually move on from him. However, in that same breath, I don't know how much better Ty God would be if he was the starting quarterback either. As much as Dan would love to see that happen, I don't think he's that much better. So we're not in a great scenario either way.
I think we're going to find out.
Yeah, probably halfway through the season. However, they worked on the running game quite a bit in these first couple of practices, and that's been looking pretty decent from what I read.
But before we get into the Giants, did you guys see this Gardner Minshew piece?
No, what?
He lived for 5 months outside of a gym in Florida in a prison bus.
What? Wait, were there prisoners in it, or was it just
no? He rented this bus. He slept in it, and he parked it next to his gym.
He was with convicts in this bus outside a gym for 5 months. The convicts didn't go to the gym. They're all locked up in there. They just yell at him. When
He wanted the environment of being in prison at night to keep him hungry.
I did read that, but that's amazing. That's really good.
What? So did he buy the thing, or he was renting it?
I think he wanted a vehicle that he could sleep in, and he wanted to live next to his gym. So he literally lived in the parking lot of his gym.
The Giants should just trade for him.
I want him as the quarterback. So
I love
bad.
that dude.
Yeah,
What team is he on?
The Eagles, man. The Eagles got him for like a 6th round pick or something.
Which blows. I hate that he's on that team.
Whatever. He might be better than Daniel Jones. I don't know.
Maybe he's more exciting.
Definitely more exciting. Well, at least better swagger.
But
here we go. To fulfill the dream, he bought an old inmate transport vehicle and gave the interior a hippie makeover with Pink Floyd albums, Leonard Skinner albums, Sabbath, candles, lava lamp, and he learned to play guitar.
So he's taking
character of human being at this
he's
point.
Taking 4.5-foot bong rips and then going to the gym every day.
Dude, he's going to be making $15 million a year with his podcast once he decides to do it. He's going to be filthy rich. This persona.
He's going to make Pat McAfee or whatever his name is retire from his.
That dude's set, even though he's sort of cheesy.
Yeah, he's not that funny. He's just kind of obnoxious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anything else offensively, guys? I mean, there's some fun play calling. I feel like we're actually seeing the Giants do pre-snap motion, which is pretty cool. I think what I read was more than 50% of the snaps they're doing stuff. We saw Tony throw a pass on Friday.
Yeah.
We've seen Richie James in the backfield, Saquon out wide. I mean, what about the sort of just in general, the offensive scheme have you guys been enjoying from training camp so far?
I had a question for you guys. Are you guys buying this KT Wandale friendship, their best buds?
They're pushing it hard.
What, Giants media or
Giants specific media are pushing it hard.
I know, are you buying that already? Or I mean, I don't see why not, but also
They're both young guys.
Yeah.
They spend a lot of time together. I think, when you're, for instance, like when you go to college, and are you guys still friends with your roommate that you were randomly assigned your freshman year?
No.
I mean, maybe not to this day, but like, how good of friends were you with them at the time?
not good.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
love that dude you lived with, Colin. I thought. I mean, Danny Weiss and Ian. I don't know. Like, I feel like two dudes. You just sort of like get matched up together, spend some time together.
Yeah, no, I feel you, TJ. Misery breeds.
It's a
Especially
camaraderie.
when you have a similar interest where you're
Yeah.
both.
I guess
football
what I was
wide
getting at
receivers.
is more what Colin was saying. Like, it seems a little fabricated to show them as
No,
like,
I mean maybe.
best
I
bros
feel like
already. Like
I'm
2
sure
days
they're
into
all
camp.
buddies.
Yeah, I've going back to the pre-snap motion aspect of things. That orbit motion that
yeah.
Wan'Dell's been doing, where he comes halfway,
Like that bubble motion.
yeah, and then back around Jones, and then to the other side. He didn't get thrown the ball in the video that I saw, but like that's great for just confusing defenses from time to time. It's like one of the easiest things you can do with a well-conditioned athlete in the backfield, and we never did it before. So, yeah, I think it's cool. It's cool to see it on these videos, the training camp, but like I need to see it in the game. And I know,
Yeah.
hey, preseason's coming, and it's coming quick.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely at least going to be. You'd have to imagine more interesting than what we have seen in the past few years. So
Yeah.
I know that Jones is where he really needs to be, and we've seen some struggles from Slayton and Galladay as well, drop passes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Do you think Slayton will make the team, and do you think Galladay, is going to clean up these drops, or do you think like this is one of the worst contracts in the Giants' history?
I mean, what did I see that Galladay's done a pathetic job of even attempting separation from anybody who's covering in camp like that? That's not good. That doesn't bode well. I mean, I think he'll end up being in situations where he'll have some games where he'll have like 4 or 5 catches, maybe a touchdown, but then he'll get lost for a couple of games. I think that's going to continue. I really do.
You don't think he's going to have a 1,000-yard season this year?
No, absolutely not.
No. What do you think, Dan?
I again, like it's hard to say. I've heard all the bad stuff coming out of camp and coming out of training, and obviously last season gives you nothing to believe in. I ultimately have a lot of faith in this coaching staff, so I think he'll be in a position to reach the heights he reached in the past, but I don't think we are going to be able to get him the ball the way he used to. Matt Stafford is a much different quarterback than Daniel Jones. You see what Stafford did to Cooper Kupp, who was, prior to Stafford joining the Rams, was an excellent slot receiver, and now he's probably the best, at least most productive receiver in the NFL.
Top 3, I mean.
Always elevated his number one guy. Daniel Jones neglected to throw to receivers last year. Just full stop. So, I mean.
Well, that wasn't all his fault, but.
Yeah, it wasn't. But now, I don't know. I don't think he has the tools to elevate a guy like Galladay, even though he should theoretically be a guy that could, transcend quarterback play by just going up there and getting passes. But I don't know. 1,000 would be very optimistic, in my opinion.
Agreed. Yeah.
And you'd think the easy way to get Galladay like into a motion, into a rhythm rather, is lean on him in goal line situations. I think with how this offense is going to be modernized, you're going to see the little guys getting the touchdowns in the red zone or the green zone, if you want to go Tom Coughlin speak, more than him, just because of like the the shovel passes and the those weird Chiefs quasi shovel passes. What do you call it? It's like
the inside shovel pass, like
yeah, the one that's like you don't see coming at all, and all of a sudden they're out.
Devontae Booker.
Oh yeah, Devontae Booker might be back. Well, yeah, I mean they have had Kafka has been calling the plays so far in preseason, which I don't think any of us called at all. But Daboll was not committal to see if he was going to be the play caller in the actual season. But maybe this is
a tryout.
This is the tryout. Yeah. I mean, I definitely think you could see a lot of those things, Colin, and you're right. I think that those kind of days of the fade in the back of the end zone to the tallest guy on your team might be over for the Giants, who have been in love with that play for as long as I've been watching.
Months ago.
I mean, yeah, it worked in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It can work really well, but I think in today's game, it's covered
Yeah.
a lot
The,
more.
the
than
only
it
guys
has
that
been.
get those passes are like Travis Kelce and Gronk.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
you don't. I don't.
Yeah, it's
I
not
can't
wide
think of a-
receivers anymore, really.
No, just big, really big dudes, making mismatches in short yardage. And, regardless of who your tight end is, they're going to be bigger than the guy covering them. And in a short yardage situation, they're not going to need, all they need is initial burst. They don't need to, maintain that speed down the field to get open. So
Yeah.
I definitely see that as a trend as well. But when we got to talk about like a wide receiver that makes you feel happy, Kadarius Toney, huge amount of reps, doing a ton of good work right now.
Yeah.
I know I wanted to bring up that they played his music
Yeah, man.
during the practice, which
And surprised him with it.
to me is good because from everything that we've read about Tony, everything I've heard about Tony from people that have actually met him as a person, is that the coaching staff is going to require to put in work to make a relationship with him. And I think this is a really good step, in the vein of the kind of person that he is,
Yeah.
to make an impact on him, personally, to bring him into the fold.
Yeah.
I think it's good they
love
didn't
it.
make like a big deal about it. Like they weren't like, "Hey, we're gonna play your song." Like, it's gonna be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Like they just like did it like it was nothing.
They were all
and,
warming up, and it was on, and then they asked him about it, and he was just like, "Yeah, pump me up a little bit." I was like, "Oh wow, Coach really." He said something along the lines of like, "Oh, Coach really wants to motivate me," in so many
Mhm.
words, and I was like, "Yeah, man, that's like you're an inclusive family
Yeah.
team, like, and you want to fight for each other, and this is the way you do it, not just make them run laps because they should be punished."
That culture shift is
yeah.
awesome.
It
Yeah.
shows me that the coaching staff, either truly does or understands the importance of caring about their players as they are as people, and that's what they said from day one. Like clearly, Kadarius Toney very much is concerned with like his music career and making like mixtapes and dropping songs, and like that's important to him. So throw him a bone, play the song, show him props in that respect, and I feel like that goes a long way to building some level of trust and respect between coaches and players. Like what were they playing with Joe Judge there? It was probably like some like
Wagon
I don't
wheel.
Wagon wheel.
Wagon wheel. Yeah.
One of the
Yeah.
best jokes from last season was Joe Judge listens to Wagon Wheel on repeat, and it was like really low and nobody heard it. That was one of my favorite jokes last year.
I know I'd be hard pressed to. This is a bit of a take, but like I'm almost proud of Mara at this point in how he is obviously letting this new coaching staff do what they want. He's not that he would meddle in this kind of way in the past, but it's clear that they have their own vision of how to build this culture, how to build the relationship.
He handed over the Spotify password.
Yeah,
He's ruining his
All the
algorithm right now.
playlists. Yeah.
John Mara's algorithm's all screwed up.
It's not just
do
Brown
you think-
Sugar
what do you
by
think
the
John-
Rolling Stones on repeat.
I was gonna say, what do you
John
think
Mara.
his
It's
number
John Mara
one
series.
artist is for John Mara?
John Mara? Well,
Yeah.
or how old is he? 60, late 60s, I guess. He's probably, or he
At
may
least.
early
You'd like to
70s
say
at
he
this
was a
point.
Doors man, but he's not cool. He's probably like the Beatles. He's probably just like really boring.
Yeah,
dude.
or
don't
like
think
John
so.
Denver or something.
Yeah. A lot of
Like,
Jimmy Buffett.
Neil
Oh yeah.
Boz Scaz.
Like I imagine John Mara's like drunk at the bars, like put on Margaritaville,
Yeah.
Or, no,
rock out.
or well, maybe he's just a Steely Dan fan.
I don't know. I don't think he's that hip.
No, it's not that. He doesn't understand the nuance and the technicality of that music, Colin.
Oh, you don't think Asia is his favorite album?
I doubt it.
Maybe he's like a
That song
Jack-
has like
Jackson
7 different
Brown
time
guy?
signatures in it.
Yeah.
Jackson Brown, possible.
Yeah, I could see Jackson Brown in there. Maybe a James Taylor.
it's definitely soft.
it. Yeah.
James Taylor, 100%.
James Taylor,
man.
for
James
sure.
Taylor, 100%. But the last thing I want to say about Tony is that I guess today they had asked him, or Daboll had mentioned to him that he wanted to do more gadget stuff with him, and they asked Tony, and Tony was very excited about talking about it, or at least
Really?
he smiled. He's
the
smiled,
Joker,
and he
man.
looked happy. He was into it. So that will happen, which I think is cool because we need to see Tony throw some touchdown passes this year.
And I want to see stuff. I mean, Jason Garrett was awful, and it was awful after that too, after he left. But like, the little bit of fun that we saw from him, it was pretty fun. So you have to think like, well, it's only going to get more insane. Like,
I mean, what do you
I
have
want
to
see
lose?
stuff. I want to see stuff that the Giants have never even thought of doing in their entire existence.
I think you'll definitely see that. I think
Yeah.
you'll see that. And you know, the last thing I'll say on offense, just because you have to, is that Richie James and CJ Ward are both looking really good. And I know I asked you guys about Slayton. We didn't really get to it, but I think Slayton's going to have some tough competition.
Yeah.
But and for the sake of time, let's move on to defense. The coolest thing that I think, and you know, we talked about Xavier McKinney last week, you know, at length about that interview he did. But it looks like he's going to be the defensive play caller over Martinez, which I love, because I love that this is sort of, and I read that this is becoming, you know, McKinney's defense. And I think that's good. And, you know, I want to buy his jersey so bad. But I won't.
No,
I
don't
won't.
do it. Don't do it.
I
don't.
don't want to jinx him, man. But God, I'm so pumped for him.
We've talked
so
about
pumped
it.
for him.
I don't think any of us can or will buy a current player's jersey for the foreseeable future. It just can't happen.
Yeah.
Jinx it, man. Can't jinx him.
But
I think. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
go ahead. No,
I was gonna say I think the McKinney thing is great for the same reasons you said, but it's also in line with a lot of trends with more of the modern defenses. A lot of the play callers are turning to safeties and guys in the secondary. So that just bodes well for the modernization of the, you know, the scheme that, you know, we're seeing across the board, I think. So
yeah,
I thought
it's
that was cool as
interesting.
well.
I wonder how someone like Blake Martinez feels about it. Like I'm sure you're never going to hear what he really thinks, because he would love to call the defense. But if he does know it's good, I mean, think about it. Safety, you're seeing more than the middle linebacker is every day of the week. So of course it makes sense for someone like that. Plus, on top of it, which is interesting, is like he is kind of quasi playing some linebacker type packages. So like there's that same article, that long one that we read, he was talking about how he was blitzing a whole lot more, and he used to love to do that in college. And so that's like, which blows, because Dane Belton was the deep safety, and I guess he broke his collarbone.
Today. And you know, another thing I wanted to bring up, Colin, which you called so well, was bringing back, you know, the Spagnuolo 3 safety thing based on what the personnel the Giants had with Belton, Julian Love, and McKinney. And then we did end up seeing that a lot on the third and long day, which I think was the third practice, where there were six defensive backs, 3 safeties, and then 5 guys rushing with 2 down linemen and then 3 linebackers. So, I mean, that was just cool to see again. And it was interesting that you had called that a couple weeks ago. And that injury is, you know, sucks for this defense. But I think there's young talent in the secondary that's going to step up. I think we've identified that. Darnay Holmes is another guy you could talk about there, who's had an excellent, you know, camp so far. I think, you know, when it comes to the secondary, I'm going to, you know, people want to knock it, you know, since Bradbury left or whatever. You know, people forget Bradbury didn't have that Pro Bowl year last year like he did the year prior. So, I mean, I'm just really liking what I'm seeing, you know, from Wink Martindale and how things are shifting around. So I think that's cool. And I think the secondary is not necessarily going to be as much a liability as people think, especially with an improved pass rush.
And you got to love the kind of situations where, you know, when you talk about, I'm not going to the offense, but you know, when you never hear the name of a left tackle during the game and you know that he's doing his job that way. Yeah. Same kind of things happening with Aaron Robinson out on the other side. With Dory. Actually, both of them. You're not really hearing either of their names, which means that, okay, yeah, maybe they're not getting interceptions, but they're also not being thrown on like crazy. So, hey, do your job.
What?
I mean, that's cool, but what worries me a little more is that maybe the offense just like isn't there where they're supposed to be.
Well, yeah, I mean,
but you want to give the defense credit, obviously. But it's hard, like when you're kind of evaluating how the units are playing each other in training camp, because, you know, you're like, oh, the defense is killing it, and then you know, on the back end, you have to be like, well, the offense, you know, doesn't look good.
Yeah.
But I mean, either way, I love watching the defense, and I always have. So the Giants are known for their defense over the years. So I guess, you know, I kind of lean in when the defense is playing well. It makes me feel good, you know.
And you know how Wink Martindale is. He must love his Madden, because if you're blitzing the house on every third down, that's something I've always wanted to do in that video game. And he's doing
Engage 8 every play.
Yeah, what happens?
Suicide.
Yeah.
I mean, what anything else you guys want to touch on before we finish up? I mean, I had one thing that wasn't really related to, like, you know, the play of either team or either squad. But what do you guys think about those like fun Guardian caps that they're wearing now?
Oh, is that Is that a team mandate or a league mandate?
It's a league mandate for certain positions.
Hey, if it cuts down on the concussions with a
For it.
little bit of an extra
Yeah.
cushion on there, I'm for it. And if it doesn't hinder their play, I mean, they look like absolute moron microphones, but like, you know, they look
Here-
like giant microphones.
I think it's funny though,
Yeah.
because so it's supposedly it's supposed to lower if two guys are wearing it, it's supposed to lower your chance of getting a concussion by 20%.
Wow.
They look stupid.
Oh yeah.
Why won't they wear them in a game?
Yeah.
Why is it the first 2 weeks of training camp they're mandatory and that's it? Because the NFL doesn't care about player
Yeah.
safety because
Yeah.
they look stupid.
And you know that the players, and it's always the players that have already retired who would be, screaming about these kinds of things. But the current players, they don't care. They care about what they look like. They care about like the perceived aerodynamics of it. They don't want to be encumbered, so they're not really even thinking about it that much. It's kind of silly just to do it the first 2 weeks and then to say, no, you're good. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
I don't know. I mean, JJ Watt was really the guy who was like, "This is the stupidest thing ever." You look like
Did he?
dirt.
Did he say
yeah,
that?
he
I'm
was
actually
real,
surprised.
real pissed about it. I mean,
That's dumb.
I mean, like, you know, okay. So JJ Watt's point was that he thought that because people had the idea that they were protected more, that they were going to lead with their helmet more.
Mm.
But in a game that's 15 yards, so why would you do that either way?
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's a funny thing for the NFL to mandate this in training camp and then move on from it, and then add an extra game to the season.
It's
I mean,
it's
It's
the
all
double,
for show. It's all for show.
and it's the what do you call it? The two-faced aspect of the league. They want to make you think like they're doing something to care about their
Yep.
players, and then over here they're just making more money. So who
I mean, the
cares?
COVID mask thing was another prime example of that. Where
I almost
you know,
forgot about that. How insane
like
that!
you got to
whole
wear the
thing was.
mask on the sideline, but not in the game when you're like, you know, breathing and spitting another guy's mouth like
Yeah.
in front of you for 40 plays or whatever it is you do.
Yeah.
Anything silly. Anything else tonight, guys?
No, I don't think so. Preseason's coming, like I said. Can't
Oh,
wait. My dad and I are going to be figuring out the games, the 5 home games that we're going to have this year. So we'll see how that goes. The scheduling looks pretty good with my fall, where I don't think I'm going to really miss that many games.
Was there a game during Fest?
They're playing away at Seattle. I was actually
Nice.
just looking at it today. However, I'm playing in Pennsylvania on September 11th, and that is the first. No, it's not a home game. Is it a home? No, it's an away
You're
game.
opening home?
No.
Yeah, yeah.
Either way, I hope I don't forget that you're playing that show.
Yeah.
Oh,
Never
do it.
We got our first preseason game next Thursday.
That's crazy.
How great is that?
That's
Oh
great.
man, it's so nice the football's back.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, thanks for listening tonight. Don't forget to follow Big Blue United on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow us at BBU Podboys with a Z on Twitter. Don't forget to download the DraftKings app. Use promo code TPPN when you sign up. Pigskin Podnet on Twitter. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.